Vajrang, I got this option of do you want me to do or do you want me to share the screen?
Once the meeting record started, so you can just continue.
Yeah.
Let others join. Okay, I'll be leaving the meeting. Take.
Okay.
Okay, you can take handle. Perfect.
Yeah.
ఎంత ఫీజు?
Niranjan, able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I'll start today's session. Once again, welcome everyone. So hope you are able to see my screen. If not, tell me. I'm showing Windows desktop. You're seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start today's session. So today's agenda will be the main focus is to understand the sequence, flowchart, state machine, and apart from that, you will learn what is assign activity, what is multi-assign, what are variables, what are arguments, and then few tasks we will do at the end of the session, or else I'll give it to you. You can do it, and also there will be some string manipulations like data manipulation things that also we will cover if time will suffice. Okay, so let's start. Like we already discussed yesterday, to start a project, I should click on this process. Let's say day 3 project, and then I directly clicked on enter because description and everything we already discussed of to give the description, what language we need to select. And Niranjan, as yesterday you are off, so please go through video that will help you on what we discussed yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Hope
okay,
everybody
okay,
is
sure.
okay,
Today I
Niranjan.
completed the yesterday class. Okay.
Okay, great. So this is how your UiPath will look like when you start the project. So we'll directly jump into the topic, the concept of sequence, flowchart, state machines, and apart from that, like if activity, those activities. So first thing, what you need to do is you need to drag this assign activity. If anybody have pen and paper, please note down few points. Whenever I'm saying some important points, please note down. It will help you when you're going for an interview. So even though you have a recording, better you note down few points that will help you. So first thing, the moment you drag an assign activity from the activities panel to the center, so as you have not given any data here, straightforward, it will throw you an error. Not only this, whenever you're doing something, whenever it is in a red color, I already told you that is because there is an error in your process. When there is an error, you cannot run it. That I already showed you other day. That will create a problem. That will not even run the process. For now, I'm showing you the moment you say run file, that's a validation error. You cannot run the process. So always make sure there is no red color in the activities. Now, let me introduce a new topic called variables. So variables are very important in designing or developing any project. And without variables, you cannot do anything. Variables means storing the data or storing the value. Okay, let's say for example, I want to create a variable. So you see there is a variables panel here. The moment I click on variables, you don't have any variable so far created, right? So you have few options to create a variable. Now first option, let's say I have this create variable option here, right? I'll just click on this create variable. Now let's see how to create a variable and what is the best practice or the best standard way to create any type of variable. Okay, now let me test you something. Okay, so what I'll do is during class. So these are the notes I've prepared during class. Now let me ask you a question. Customer name. If I'm saying a customer name as a variable, can you tell me what can be a data type? And first of all, what is data type?
Customer name means it's varchar. Data type is varchar.
Okay, varchar. Somebody said varchar. Okay. Anybody else have any other data type in your mind?
String.
String. Anything else?
Integer.
Customer name.
So customer name should be string.
String, right?
String form.
So
Yes.
you see varchar, it's in different area, and string is something if you wanted to define a particular data. So that's a data type. So now let's list down the list of data types. Integer, that's if you want to store a numbers. For example, marks, student marks. Student marks will always be in a number that is an integer. So now let's list down the list of data types. Integer, string, what else you have seen?
Boolean.
Boolean. Boolean, for others who don't know Boolean, Boolean means true or false. Anything else can be a different data type or other than these three, any other data type?
Double.
Sir, double data type.
Float, double, all of these things. Okay. So now this data type thing, where can I see? Let's say I'm asking you in our task also today's task you should basically create a variable. So if I'm asking you guys, can you please create a variable? Let me first delete this. It's all automatically created. Now, if I'm asking you to create a variable, that's a very basic step. So you can just click on this create variable. So automatically a variable name is like variable name is showed here and the variable type. So this is what I'm discussing. These are the variable types like Boolean, integer, string, object. Object means like anything you can store like an integer, string like that. Data table. Data table is a different concept. There are list of activities related to data table. I will discuss at that moment. But remember, there is a variable type called data table and array of string, array of integer. Arrays is another concept and browse for types. What is browse for types means if you're not finding a variable what you need, then you can go to browse for types. And for example, somebody said double. The moment you type double, somewhere you will see double as a variable. So UiPath has so many variables. If you want to browse, I showed you how to browse that particular variable type and then type whatever variable you wanted and then select it and then say OK. But now for this demo purpose, I am OK to have a variable type of this particular variable, which is string. Now, please, please, whenever I'm giving you any task or whenever you are working with me, don't create a variable like ABC. When somebody says BCD, this is not the standard way of creating a variable. Maybe when I'm training you something, considering the time I can create something like ABCD, something like that. But please practice in such a way that you give a proper variable naming convention. Now you may ask me, sir, what is a variable naming convention? So next topic is naming convention. Now this is very important because when you go for any company in the upcoming days, by looking at the variable type you are creating, I will tell you whether you are really a genuine profile or really you have learned something in UiPath, or is that a fake profile? Because only a genuine profile people will create a proper bot with proper naming conventions. Now, how do you create a variable? To create a variable, this is the standard practice. I'm just showing a syntax, a data type, and then underscore, and then here you should say the variable what you wanted to create in camel case. Now, what is camel case is, let's say I wanted to create a variable name, customer name. So customer name means, it's a string. So I should say str. Data type is str, means string underscore variable in camel case. Camel case means first letter is small. That means C is small, customer. And camel case means the next word capital first letter should be in capital. So NAME. So this is the standard format for creating a variable in the UiPath. Okay, so for clear, or anybody has any doubts?
Clear.
Okay, now what I'll do is just copy this, go to this section. I'll just paste this and then I'll delete unwanted variable. Now my variable is already ready. Now can somebody tell me if I wanted to display this particular value, whatever we have in the variable, how do I display the value? Yesterday we have learned something. Now I want somebody to tell me what variable should I use to display the value I have in the variable. What activities do I need to use? Please make this session interactive. Then only you'll learn a lot of things.
You can use message box or write line.
Okay, let me use message box as you said this as first. So now in the message box, you have this variable. I say str customer name. That's it. Your error is gone. You don't have anything now. Now I'll just run this. Can somebody guess me what can be the output if I am running this? If I am running this, what can be the output?
Nothing, I think. Just a
Nothing.
pop-up.
Just a pop-up because we have for others who have not understood why I said nothing is we have just created a variable. Okay, I'm again repeating, we have just created a variable, but I have not assigned any value. So again, you may immediately ask me what is assigning here. So that I will tell you after I run this. So I am clicking on this. I'm clicking on run file. So I just clicked on run file. That means it will go and get the value whatever we have in customer name. So we have not assigned anything. So that's blank. Okay, so now the next learn we'll go one step forward. Now we have a variable name. Now I want to assign a value here. Let's say Niranjan. So now what did we do? We have a variable name. We have assigned a value to this variable name. Now I want to display whatever we have in the customer name. That's done. And then you got the variable name. So if you go to yesterday's class, everything we have put it in double quotes. Okay. So now I am just bringing it here like this, double quotes, and let's say Lakshmi. So this is called hard coded value. So just for your reference, I'm saying you hard coded value means this is something I have entered manually in the message box. So you can run this particular process for 100 times, 200 times, 300 times. This message box will give you Lakshmi only. because you have entered the value here Lakshmi. This Lakshmi value will not be changed because the value is fixed. But this one will depend on the value we have here. If I give Niranjan, it has given you Niranjan. Let's say if I give Sushmit, ignore my if any wrong spelling. Now if I run this, now it will give you Sushmit. So the difference between the first message box and second message box is first one is dynamic variable. The value of that variable depends on the value you are passing to that variable. And the second message box, which is Lakshmi, even you run for n number of times, it will always give you Lakshmi. Now, can somebody tell me this is the correct way of doing or this is correct way of doing? What is the correct way? Sorry?
Message box is correct way of doing.
Message box is correct way of doing, but
Yeah.
this is the way you have a variable name. So whenever
Yes.
you wanted to show something, you show that with the variable name. Even if you put a value inside a message box, there is no need to display also because you know what is the value inside this message box. Okay, so that is the concept of variable. You learned how to create a variable and what is the way the standard way you have to create a variable, and the variable type, it's there are n number of variable types. You can select whatever is needed. We have assigned a value to this particular variable. Now let's learn something different. I'll delete this second message box. We have a str customer name message box already available. Now let me introduce this assign activity. Now the second way of doing or creating a variable is just go to this two. Okay, I just clicked on this left hand side of assign activity and then do control K. I just did control K. I clicked both of the buttons at the same time in the keyboard and then it said set variable. So by using this method also you can create a variable. Now let's say str, sorry, let's say in salary, because salary is a number. I'm doing enter. And now if I want to assign some value to this salary, I'm saying let's say 35,000 just for reference. Now it is throwing me an error here, but I gave it correctly. I said integer salary. I gave the number to this, but it is throwing me an error, but variable is created. Now can somebody fix this issue? What did I do wrong? Maybe I'll show you this error for you.
Variable type is wrong. Should be
Variable type is
integer.
name. Very good. So it should be integer, but what did we give? It's a string. So whenever you are seeing, like the why I'm showing you this thing is, whenever I'm doing it, I'll show you a positive thing and the negative thing, because in the future, whenever you are seeing any error, you'll have to directly go to this error point and understand what is that error it's throwing you. It was clearly saying conversion from integer to string is not possible. So now how do I fix it? What do I need to do it for to get this error gone?
So below in salary, in below output, they have to
Mhm.
change.
Change to
Bro, you're not showing. Integer is not, integer is 32.
integer
32.
32. Exactly.
Yeah.
Super. So the moment I said integer 32, your error is gone. So what I'm trying to tell you here is you will have to assign a value according to your variable type. Now let me take another example, the same example. So let me use this variable name. To use this variable name, I don't need to do control K because I already have a variable, right? When you already have a variable, you need not do control K because your variable is already there. Now what I wanted to do is I want to update the customer name. I don't want customer name to be updated as Sushmit. I wanted it to be updated as Nirmala. Now what do I need to do is I need to just click on this button and just say S. I just did S, the first letter of the variable. Automatically it will show you the list of variables you have created. Let's say I'm saying I. Automatically it will show you list of variables. So I want the first variable, which is str customer name. Now I wanted to update Nirmala. Now it's again throwing me an error. It's an integer here for salary. For customer name, it's a string, but I have not given double quotes for this text. So one important thing which I've seen in most of my students who have they will do this session, this 1 hour everything will looks good, but the moment when I ask them to do something, then they'll look at this like when sir was doing in the class today, everything was normal, but the same thing when I'm assigning it here, it was throwing me an error. Now what's the problem here?
It's give me in a double quote. Nirmala give me
I think
in
double quote, sir.
quote.
Double quote.
Double quotes, and then I'll put this in
Both
that
sides,
double
sir.
quote. So remember one thing, string should be in double quotes, integer should not be in double quotes. Clear? Now,
Yes, sir.
I have done certification in UiPath. The same question, whatever I'm asking you now, is there in the UiPath certification. Now the question is, there is a variable and you have already have a default variable name, which is Sushmit, and you have an assign activity, which is you have assigned this variable name to Nirmala. Now the options is, will it display Nirmala? Will it display Sushmit? Will it throw an error? Okay, I'm assigning this variable to Nirmala. The default value I have is Sushmit. The third option I got in that certification is it will throw an error. Now
It will
let
show Nirmala, I think.
it will show Nirmala. Let me show you that, and also I'll tell you the reason. So whatever you are learning this, I am 100% sure definitely it will help you at some moment of time, at least while writing the certification or when you're doing something. So it's Nirmala, you got the value updated, right? That means it will ignore the default value, whatever you have here. It will only take whatever you have in the assign activity. Clear? Or anybody have any question?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Now next step is, let's say I don't want to assign any value to str customer name. I'm not giving any name here. Now if I'm trying to run this, what could be the answer if I don't give an default value? Because default value, I am generally 99% cases, I won't give any default value for a variable. I will only assign it in the runtime, like this whenever I'm doing in the code. Now if I'm running it, will it throw error or will I get Nirmala as an output? Even it's wrong, no problem, but just tell me error or Nirmala. I need 4 answers. Everybody should answer. Let it be
It
wrong or
should
right.
show Nirmala.
One said
So think
Nirmala,
Nirmala, sir. Nirmala
2 said
display.
Nirmala, other 2.
Yeah, it will showing Nirmala because there is no default value, no. So that's why.
Okay, let's see that. It showed Nirmala because there is no default value, and also it will not throw any error. Clear? This is how you basically create a variable, use the concept of variable type. Scope is something I will speak in couple of minutes or else in the tomorrow session, because scope is part of, just a moment, I'm getting a call, just a moment. Hello? Clear, right? If you are clear, I'll go to the next step. Okay, so let's quickly do the
Clear.
sum of, okay, great. Now I want Sumit or somebody to just quickly tell me how do I add the 2 numbers? Just sum of 2 numbers. How do I do that?
We can take assign activity to assign activity and
Yes, the reason you could say this two assign activities, right? That is the reason I have put this concept called multi-assign. Okay, so I will tell you what is multi-assign. Let me type that multi-assign thing as well. And others will ask you what is the difference between assign activity and multi-assign. So instead of using two activities, I can use only one multi-assign. And in this one multi-assign, you can add any number of variables like this. Okay, so whenever you're dealing with multiple variables, please use multi-assign. And the biggest plus point is execution time will be faster. Okay, go ahead, Sushmit. Now what do I need to do to get the sum of two numbers? Not only Sushmit, anybody can answer.
we can declare two variable and three variables.
Okay,
Uh, Want to like
yeah.
first number,
Theoretic,
second number,
theory,
and then the
the
result.
theoretically everything looks okay, but I want you to tell me what to do exactly with pinpoint. Click on this, do this, do this.
Okay, okay.
Just this task. Please.
First we need to clear first number in the
Mhm.
variable panel.
Yeah. So you want me to create
Sir,
like this?
in case,
Yes.
Sorry, Nirmala or Sri Lakshmi? Who was that?
sir, Nirmala, sir. Sir,
Yes, Nirmala.
in case example, we take a student names and marks also take a example. Uh, use this multi-assign activity, sir.
Okay, I will show that, Nirmala. Okay,
Okay, sir.
we are saying before that you are asking me to show that there.
Okay, sir.
Simple. I'll go there. Here, if you see, we have two assign activities, right? So I'll take multi-assign activity. So whatever I have here variable, right? I'll say in. I already have a variable in salary. Here I am giving 50,000. Now I want to add another variable. I will again say str customer name, and then I'll give Nirmala. When I'm doing it, I don't want this assign activity. I don't want this assign activity. But if I run it, everything is super. Everything is same. Now with this as a reference, I want somebody to tell me how do I do the sum of two numbers task. Please, we don't have much time because
Okay.
rest of the other
Yeah,
task I'll give it to
create the
you.
first.
Sir, I think we should enter the variable type.
Variable type
We
before.
should create a variable, sir.
Yeah, I am creating a variable. Let's say number one, and I'll create another one, number two. Next, please go for
And third one is result.
okay. Let's say sum. Okay, result.
Some yes. Change the variable type to integer 32.
Okay, integer 32. Great. Next, I have three
Then
numbers now.
yes. Then we can. I think one assign activity will be enough.
Exactly. One multi assign. Okay, let's use that one assign. Okay,
In the assign in the left side we can put result,
result.
and the right side we can num1 plus num2,
Okay,
and then we can use a message box to display the result.
okay. Did everybody understood what did we do here, or anybody have any misunderstanding or any gaps in understanding this concept? If at
Understood, sir.
least if at least one did not understand, I will repeat again. Okay. Now what I'll do is I will take let's say a message box again. I will display this message box whatever we have in the result, and then I will run this. But what's gonna be an answer, Sushmit? We don't have any number one, number two added default, right? Let's say 5. let's say
We have to, yes.
10. And now I want to run this, and then I'll quickly show you what's the output. And another concept also I will tell you related to this example that is very important. 15, because the first number is 5, second number is 10, the sum of two numbers, and the result is 15. Okay, now let's say I don't want to change the variable type to integer, because this is something you will get in the interview. Let's say you have a variable which is of type string, like two variables which are of type string. Now, how do you add these two variables? And this is throwing you an error. You know the reason, because this number should be in double quotes. Now, this is very interesting. I'm strictly saying this cannot be an integer. I wanted it to a string, but I want the sum of two numbers. Any idea? If not, no. If yes, yes. Please. We have very less time. Sushmit?
Can we change the variable type, or it should be string? Like,
See,
can we take generic or anything?
This variable panel is fixed. So whatever drama we will have to do it, I'll have to do it in the code only. These three variable types are fixed. Number one is string, number two is string, result is integer.
No, sorry.
Okay, so let's do one thing. The important new thing, I'm just clearing off everything, whatever I have. So please put your attention here. The question again, I'm repeating. If there are two variables of string, how do you add those two variables? Number one is string, number two is string. How do you add this number? For that, simple, just say cint. What is cint means? Convert to integer. You need not have any coding knowledge or any programming thing and all. Just remember the syntax cint and say number one. That done. Your automatically your string is converted to an integer. Now you want another cint to convert the second number, which is number 2. So your cint means from string it's converted to integer. Again another string is converted to integer. Now your number is in result. Now you have this 5 and 10. The same concept. If I run it, it should throw you 15. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Or anybody have any problem? So please remember this syntax. Don't expect your interview goes very easily, like they ask you sum of two numbers, how do you do? They ask you something like this, which is some of them are tricky. You would have not learned, or you would have not even thought of what happens if it is like this. So these are all called out of box thinking. So this is something you will have to do whenever I will be there with you for 1 hour, but rest of the 23 hours is yours. So that 23 hours, you'll have to think like, what if I'm doing it like this? What if I'm doing it like this? What's going to happen? Okay, clear? Now let's go back to our thing. We have learned what is assign. Can somebody quickly tell me what is assign? What do you mean by assign activity? Nirmala, can you please give the definition of assign activity?
Sir, definition I don't know, sir.
No,
Now
simple.
we,
Whatever you
yeah,
learned,
now we are
seen so.
using. This is
Mhm.
one of the activity
Mhm.
using values and values display, sir.
Okay. To assign a value, you will have to basically use assign activity, right?
Okay, sir.
Chalo, next. And a very simple another logic. Let's try to do it, which is called if condition. Okay, if condition. Now, everybody would have seen or listened about this activity somewhere in our schooling or somewhere. The if condition, if means if this condition is true, then this will be displayed, which is the true sequence. If this condition, whatever the condition we are writing here, if it is false, it will go to here, which is false condition. And at least one, if for sure you'll have in the projects whenever you are doing, at least one for sure. At least for doing something, you will definitely use if condition, if activity. Now let's see the proper way how you should use this if activity in a sequence. And another comparison we will do is with flowchart. If the result, now I want to write a logic. Okay, I want to write a logic. If result is greater than 10, then it's a true condition. If it is not greater than 10, it is false condition. I want to display a message. For that, what we should do is just type res. Automatically, you'll see a variable result. And you know the symbols, right? If it is greater than, this is the greater than symbol. If it is less than, this is a symbol. Less than or equal to, this is a symbol. Now I wanted to put a condition saying if it is greater than 10, sorry, if it is greater than 10, then you are making a condition here like this. Now if it is greater than 10, I would just put a right line. Hope you know what is right line. Here I am saying greater than 10. Now same right line, I'll copy it and paste it here. And then here I'll say less than 10. Okay, now I will put this. If you go to this if condition and say right click, I'm again repeating, right click. After you click on if condition, you will have an option called toggle breakpoint. Anybody knows what is breakpoint or toggle breakpoint in UiPath? If you would have already explored this option. What is toggle breakpoint and what is the need of this option? Okay, if silence, I'll take it as, sorry, somebody. Okay, I said toggle breakpoint. So what is happening is the moment I put a toggle breakpoint, it will put a stop here. So whenever you are traveling on a road, when you're traveling, suddenly there is a speed breaker. That means you will stop your vehicle. The same thing is gonna applicable at this particular position. When you're running, your execution is stopped here. So is that stopping or not stopping? Let's see. For that, I need to click on this play button here. I just clicked on this play button. So after I clicked on play button, now we have already given number 1, number 2. Let's see what is the value we have in the result. So now result value is 15. That we already know because before also we have executed. Now result 15 is greater than 10, true or false? True. 15 is greater than 10. If it is true, it will go to step
True, sir.
into, and then it will go to true sequence, this sequence, and then it will display this right line, which is greater than 10 in the right line in the output, and then the execution is ended. So now you would have got some understanding why you should use if. If is to compare or create a condition, and you will create many number of conditions, many number of if in your projects, like if the application is opened, or if anything is open, or if the value is equal to this much, if the name is equal to Sushmit or name is equal to Vamsi. So like that, if you wanted to compare or do anything in the future, then directly you will have to use an activity called if. Okay, if is a condition. If it is greater, sorry, if it is true, it will come here. If it is false, it will come to else. Okay, now same concept. I'll go to flowchart and then I'll quickly show you if in flowchart. Now, if I use this if right, if you type just if here, you will see this if here. Now you just drag and drop to this point, and also you, let's say you are assigning a variable. Now, can somebody, if you remember, if without going to variables, how do I create a variable?
Control K. The sign
Control K, Control K. I think Control K and say number. I'm just giving a value in called number, but ideally I told you of what is the right way. You should give as in underscore customer number, customer name, or proper variable name. Now I'm assigning it, let's say 500. And this is as integer, and you should connect this point to this node. Now what happens is instead of like we have assigned a number to 500, and in the condition the same like what we have done, or else one thing you remember, whenever you are dealing with the flowchart, I want to compare these two activities with you. You have already learned this if condition, right? Hope you understood what if is doing. If it is true, come here. If it is false, go here. But here, if you see flow decision, which is part of flowchart activity. Now, what happens is in the flowchart, you should basically create a condition like you did it in if. Okay, now in the condition of this flow decision, let me delete this if because you already know what if is doing. Now in the if in this flow decision, in the condition, I will say if number is greater than 1000. I just took this condition here. Now I need to connect this particular point to this and again write a bring this right line here to both the sides. And if the number is greater than 1000, then you should display this greater or else less. Same thing, but in the future projects, you will see a flow chart having a flow decision, and then left hand side you have a sequence, and right hand side you have a sequence. Sequence means you can put a sequence inside a flow chart, right? You can see, right? This is a flow chart, whatever we are doing. Inside a flow chart, you can put a sequence. This can also be a question. And the same thing in the sequence, because this is a sequence, can I put a flow chart? Yes, you can put a flow chart. So if somebody is asking you this, yes, you can put a flowchart inside a sequence and a sequence inside a flowchart. So now we have also put the sequence inside a flowchart. That is also possible. So now we have given number equal to 500 and number, if it is greater than 1000, it should display your GRE, which is greater. Less, it's less means this side. So these two conditions or two activities, whatever I showed you, in flowchart, it's gonna use flow decision. In sequence, you'll have to use if condition, and accordingly, your flow will go. Why do we need to use this? Is called control flow. The name itself, if you go to activity, the name itself, the activities will tell you control flow. What is control flow is you are basically controlling the flow. What should robot do? If if it is this condition, then go here. If not, go here. You're controlling that flow. So to control that flow, you have these many related activities, which we will learn step by step. And by end of that, our training, at least 75 to 80% of the commonly used and most important activities we will cover off. Okay, now this one I have showed 500. 500 is less than 1000. So it will definitely show you as less as the output. Anybody, any questions?
No, all good. Yeah.
Okay, so state machine, I wanted to start it as a fresh topic, this state machine topic, because sequence understanding, flowchart understanding is very easy, like I showed you now. But state machine is something bit tricky to understand. So tomorrow when we start the things, we will start immediately with state machine, because state machine with a very open, simple way we'll have to deal it. So state machine will do it tomorrow. So flowchart, yesterday also I discussed the main benefit of flowchart is you can connect your pointer to any time at any point of time, just like this. You can again connect this point to this. That means if it is greater, if it is greater than 1000, it will go here. If it is less than, again it will ask you, again it will keep asking you. So this is the benefit we will have in the flowchart. So coming back to our content, if we covered with the flowchart, and let's do these things. We have 15 minutes, 20 minutes more. So let's learn something new now. I'm taking a new workflow, and here I'm saying string manipulations. Just I took a workflow called string manipulations, and now I wanted to compare. I wanted to compare if the customer name is equal to Sushmit. How do I do that? If the customer name is equal to Sushmit, I wanted to compare that particular condition.
We can use the if condition.
Okay, if is one thing you need to use, and let's say you need to ask the customer name, right? So first thing is we should ask the user to enter the customer name. So just say title, just giving some random names. Here I'm saying, please enter customer name, and if let's say text box here. And now tell me if I wanted to compare if the name is equal to or name is and the name entered is Sushmit, then you should say welcome Sushmit. If it's not Sushmit, then you should say unknown user. Just an example, this is your task. So until this, you are asking the user to enter the name, and then value entered, this is blank. Now what's the next step I need to do to compare that condition where if the entered name is equal to Sushmit, then throw a message to the user saying hello Sushmit or else unknown user.
Okay, we can create a variable over here like user input. Control
Okay.
K.
Okay, here. Can I go
Yes,
and create a variable here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
guys, this is for everybody. Please put your utmost attention here. This is very important. So for this activity, I'm going to property for the first time because so far I've never used any property. For this particular property, for this activity, I'm going to right hand side and saying control K. Control K, and then I'm creating a variable name called str underscore user name, and then I'm doing enter. Now I go to variables and show you, it will only show you str username which is created in this workflow. Whatever I have created in another variable, that is that scope only. That scope means within this workflow only your names are applicable. In the main also we have created few variable names. These are only in this workflow. String manipulations, we have just now created a variable name that is only in this workflow. Okay, I will continue, and then last 5-10 minutes I'll take your questions. If you have any questions, please note down from your side. Okay, like Sushmit said, I have created a variable name which is str username. Now I want somebody to tell me a condition to check if username equal to, let's say, Sushmit. How do I do that?
Like we can use the variable name string username.
String username.
The condition. String username dot contains.
Dot contains. So for that, basically today you will learn equals contains. Okay, so let me tell you the very first simplest way is str username. See, what is str username? User is entering some data, entering the customer name. Now I wanted to compare that particular username if it is equal to so and so person. Let's say str username equal to, let's say, admin, ADMIN, admin. Now if it's admin, if the username is admin, then I need to basically throw a message to the user saying hi admin. If it's not an admin you have entered, then you should give a message showing unknown user. Simple. If it's admin, throw the left hand side message box or else right hand side message box. But we have put str username equal to admin. So this is the first job we are doing now. Now I'm doing a run file. That means it's going to execute. and let's see what's going to happen. Now it's asking me for the name. Let's say I'm saying Sushmit, and then I'm doing, let's say, okay. That means Sushmit is not equal to admin. That means it's an unknown user. Okay, so equal to is gonna exactly match. Now again, I'm running this process. Please be careful. You will learn one more important thing. Now I'm saying ADMIN. Now can somebody tell me what is the output if I'm saying okay?
It will be unknown user.
Unknown user from Sushmit, Niranjan, Nirmala, Sri Lakshmi. If I'm saying okay, what is the output?
It will showing the Sushmit details.
If I'm saying okay,
It will showing the Sushmit details.
it's an unknown user because why Sushmit?
So it's case sensitive. I think you have
It's
put the small.
it's small here, and here I'm saying capital A. But in an ideal scenario, okay, in an ideal scenario, you cannot tell your client, please give the first letter as A, or please make sure you're giving the name of the customer in small letters or capital letters. Can we say like that? No, right? They wanted to give in any text,
No.
which is called free text. So how do we deal this scenario? So that is something we will learn in this string manipulation concept. And also we will learn something more behind this particular task. So the first thing you need to say is str username dot equals is the moment I give the variable name and then I said dot, you will see list of methods. I'm repeating this point one more time. List of methods related to string. Now, let me introduce this method called equals. Now I'm checking if this particular variable equal to admin. Whatever we have done before, which is equal to symbol, is also this way also it's same. It's gonna go and check if it is equal to admin. Now, let's say if I'm running this process, and then if I'm exactly giving capital ADMIN, it will definitely tell you as welcome admin. And now I gave exactly ADMIN in the capital letter, it gave welcome admin. But the same thing if I'm running it with a small case, which is A also small, then it will definitely throw you unknown user because the case is not matching here. So it will consider it's not the correct condition, the true condition. So it went to false case. So for that to overcome, let me introduce another method in .NET, which is related to string, which is to lower. What is to lower is, let me again remove this condition and then write again the fresh condition. This is our string name, right? Everybody know this is our string name. You also know from where we are getting this string data, which is from that title box. Now I want to make it to lower. What is to lower? You are basically moving or converting the capital letters, small letters, everything to lowercase. Now you should compare it with admin. Now I'm saying all small characters. Now I converted to lower, then equal to admin. Now let's see how it works. See, I'm giving A capital, D small, M capital, I small, N capital. Now I'm saying okay. It don't even care in how many small, how many capital you give until unless your content or text is correct, because we have converted to lower. So basically to lower is to convert your particular string to lower, then equal to this so and so text. Let's say if I am giving something in a different way now. I'm giving AD space MIN. AD space MIN. That means add space min, which is not equal to admin. So definitely it will condition is false. It will go to unknown user because admin is not equal to AD space min, which are two different words. So it's gonna give you false. So like this, we learned what is to lower, what is equals. Now let me show you another string method called contains. Okay, contains, let's say UiPath. Okay, let's say UiPath. Now I'll quickly, I'm saying here true. And then here I'll say false. So please concentrate. It contains means it will go and check if a particular set of characters are available or not. Now here I'm saying UiPath technologies. Now what I'm doing is I'm just checking if that particular box contains a text. It does contains this text. So obviously the condition should be true, that was displayed, and then it will come out of it. So the difference between equals and contains means equals is gonna match exactly the same text. Exactly means exactly five characters. If you are getting 5 characters, it will exactly match. Contains means it will go and check for set of characters that particular word. If it is if it is there, then true. If it is not there, then it's false. Any doubts, anybody? Any doubts, anybody?
No.
Okay, next question. Let's say again, let me run this. Before we gave UiPath technologies, it was true. But let me give the same UiPath technologies again in the text box, but in a different way. Let's say I gave a space. I gave a space. Now I give UiPath and then a space and then technologies. Okay, now I'm giving a space here, but space technology, space. There can be a lot of spaces in here. So even it can be any number of spaces anywhere. Contains means exactly it is gonna match this particular text. If the text is found, then it is true. Let's say if it is UI space path, then the contains is false. Okay, so now if I give UI space path, then it's false. If I give UI path technologies, then the condition is true. So now let me put this as equals and show you few things from this by putting a breakpoint. You know how to put a breakpoint. Right click, toggle a breakpoint, and let's learn some things. The list of all the methods we have in the string methods. And if you have any questions, I'll take your questions at the last few minutes. So let's give this like this: space UiPath space technologies. Okay, this is the name. Now this is the left hand side. Whatever I'm showing you in this immediate thing, if I want to display what is the variable name, what is the variable value we have, simple way you can do is just go to this immediate section, just say str username and then enter. Now if you see in str username, we have UiPath technologies. So far clear up to this point? If not, I'll repeat again. I went to immediate section. I typed the variable name and then it was displaying me this UiPath technologies text. Everybody clear? Very silent.
Yes.
Okay. So now what I'll do is if I wanted to get the length of that string, I should say, if I want the length of that string, I should say str username dot length. What do you mean by length means? Let's say Vamsi, VAMSI. It's a 5-character name. So when I'm saying name dot, if I'm giving a value as Vamsi, if I said length, it should give you 5. So I will leave it to you. You can also try it from your side. Whenever you're saying as variable name dot length, it should give you your name whenever your whatever value you are giving. So now if you see in this, it's like 23 characters word because we have given spaces and everything. Now let me introduce another concept here by doing this conditions checking and all. Let's say str str username dot equals and saying double quotes and UiPath. Now guess the output for this. Str username dot equals UiPath.
Unknown user.
No, this is not even going here. It like if
Okay.
it will only give you true or false.
With false.
It's false, right? Now let's say the same concept if I'm going here and saying contains. Now what is the output for this?
True.
Are you sure?
Think so.
Yes, it's true.
Okay, I'm doing enter. It gave me false. The reason behind that is we have already discussed here u is capital, but we gave small u. To make this true, what we should do is str username dot just say to lower and then dot contains, then it will automatically give you true because you have converted that particular UiPath technologies everything to small and then you have got this value. Clear, right? Whatever I'm saying, UiPath with small case like that's a case sensitive. Now another thing what I wanted to show you is yes, correct Sri Lakshmi. Sri Lakshmi, do you have any audio issues? From tomorrow, please make sure you join 5-10 minutes, 5 minutes before at least, and set right your audio issues because sometimes it would be difficult for you to ask the questions. Okay, so now let's go back to this. Now I showed you, right? Let me clear everything. I showed you this str username dot length instead of UiPath technology. Let me take a small example. Okay, I'm giving VA MS site. I'm giving extra spaces before and after. I gave some extra spaces before and one before after my name. Okay, now if I'm giving str username dot length, it gave me 14. Hope you know you would have understood the reason why it gave 14, right or wrong?
It has
Sushmi,
counted the spaces as well.
it has counted the spaces as well. I gave 4-5 spaces before Vamsi, 4-5 spaces after Vamsi. Overall, the length was 14. But we cannot justify because user would have entered by mistake or when you are scrapping the data. Scrapping means getting the data from website. There could be a possibility that there could be an empty spaces. But how do you remove this empty spaces is the next question. For that, simple, you should again type this str username and say dot str username dot trim. Trim. Trim means cutting down the unwanted things. Str username dot trim. When you do enter, you just got Vamsi. That means before, after everything was cut down. Now, if you say str username dot trim dot length, it gave you only 5. What is that method you will use to remove the unwanted characters from your string?
Trim option, sir.
Trim option. So trim is gonna remove unwanted spaces in your string, and now you can clearly see the character is 5 after I trimmed. Before I trimmed, it was 14 because you are basically cutting down or removing unwanted spaces before and after that particular thing, and then you got the exact value whatever you need, and then you are done with that. Okay, so whatever I have told you today, which is if we have already learned assign, multi-assign variables, tomorrow I will start with arguments topic. Then we'll go step by step. But tomorrow again I'll not open if condition. Tomorrow I'll not tell you again trim equals contains, but I'll directly you start using because today I've not spoke anything about message box because you already know what is message box. So like this, we will go every day step by step, and you learn a lot of things. And today is Wednesday. By Friday, all of these things you will learn. I will keep adding these points into this notepad and in our group, that particular team. And if anybody have any doubt also when you're practicing, you can tell me and I'll be happy to help you. So I think for now I'll stop and I'll take any questions if anybody have any questions.
Like I have a question. In the contains method, in UiPath, if it's small letter, will it still give us the error?
Just a moment. Okay, what do you mean by contains and then error? Like what is that scenario?
Like suppose here is user has input like small UiPath, like U in small,
Okay.
and in our condition it is capital letter. So I think in contains it
It
just
will not see basically Sushmit basically equals and contains will never throw you any exception. It will always return you true or false. When you are checking a condition, this is simple. What is the length of your name? If the length of the name is greater than 5, do this or else do that. Length of the 5 is 5 characters or more, less than that. You are basically putting that if and then a condition. Now to answer your scenario question, in the customer name, I'm saying UiPath, which are all small. Now, if I wanted to compare str username dot contains, and then here I'm giving double quotes and then capital U I path. So whenever you are using this contains method, it will always give you true or false.
yes.
And if
My
I,
question was why it was false. It should be true, right? Because it is just getting what the content is, not the
no,
equal.
yeah, this contains and equals is not only getting the content, it will also check for case, like which case, positive, like sorry, capital letter or small letter, that also it will check.
Okay.
So that is the
That
reason we have made this to lower, and then so that is the reason I'm saying whenever you're putting a logic in your if condition, the best practice is to make it to lower, then do that contains. And whenever you're doing it, always it will give you a correct decision whether it is true or false.
okay. Thank you. I understand now.
Okay, great. So please remember, like to upper, sorry, like to lower, we also have to upper. Please practice, not like I told you and then you understood everything. When you do the things, the reality is different. So do it from your side, the same topics, whatever we have learned in this last 1 hour, and then come back. If you have any questions tomorrow, I am here with you. Any other questions, Niranjan, Sri Lakshmi, Nirmala?
So no, sir.
No,
Okay, Niranjan?
no.
Okay. Sri Lakshmi, I am hoping you. Okay, no, sir. Okay, then. Thanks, everyone. Please do this practice, whatever you have learned. If only you do practice, you will learn a lot of things. And also, I will post. I already posted this task 1, task 2 details in our teams in that group. So just practice, or else just follow this whatever steps we have done in today. Just replicate what you have learned. Then also you'll learn a lot of things. Thanks, everyone. Good evening, and then bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.